with fiber.
There's a U.S. congressman who voted for President Obama's health care plan whose brother now became a federal judge. Political horse trading. They are trying to do selective prosecution and criminalize what is political behavior. That sort of politics is how our country operates.
That sort of politics, is how our country operates on the eve of a critical election for our nation's future that is less about party and more about process and the apparent basic obligation of politicians to either keep their own jobs or take care of the special interests that fund their campaigns at the expense of our country. The important question to consider, was Rod Blagojevich right all along? And will this historic election do anything to change it, or simply offer us more of the same? We're breaking down the candid comments with the former governor of Illinois himself. Rod Blagojevich joins us from Chicago. And, Governor, what did you mean when you said that on the Today Show?
Well, the reality is I was on the verge of a political deal before I was arrested by the federal prosecutors. The day before, Rahm Emanuel, the president's new chief of staff, had agreed to be the go-between between me and the Democratic House Speaker in Illinois. I was going to appoint his daughter, senator, in exchange for public works, 500,000 people going to work and getting jobs, access to affordable health care for up to 300,000 men and women who can't otherwise afford it, and a written guarantee not to raise taxes on working people and the people of my state. That was going to happen the day before. And the president's chief of staff agreed to be the one to put that political deal together. Senator Dick Durbin offered to be part of that process. And then the next morning, it all changed. And I've been lied about, falsely accused of things. Our country was founded on what is considered routine political bartering. Our nation's capital was founded on a political deal between Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson put Southern votes on Hamilton's plan to have the federal government assume state debts. In exchange for that, the Federalists were voted for a nation's capital in Washington, D.C. These are the sorts of things that happen in politics in order to get things done. And if it's done for the purpose of achieving things for people or where you can play a role to help people, that is, as Abraham Lincoln would agree, good government and good politics.
What if we invented new technology and communications infrastructures that happened to happen after Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson that allowed us to enhance that politics by denying people like yourself or any other politician from making these decisions in secret?
Well, you know, again, I was speaking openly on the telephone.
I'm not even talking about you. Yeah. I'm just saying as a political analyst, I don't disagree with your analysis. I'm simply saying the world has changed, and making these deals, at what point do the American people get the right to stop having to offload their trust to a politician who may or may not be working in their interests, and whose interest is always, your interest is in the eye of the beholder anyway?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, and that goes to the heart of the challenges we face in America today, because unfortunately too many of these deals are done in back rooms, behind closed doors, and there's the kinds of deals, Dylan, that these politicians don't want the people to know about. If you're prepared to make a political deal that you think is right for the people, then you should be prepared to announce it publicly and talk about it publicly.
Yes.
And I don't know how you legislate that. I think ultimately the voters basically mostly almost always get it right, and they'll choose people that they can trust to try to do that. But it is a very cynical process, and in so many ways, we need more transparency. I don't disagree with that.
And I mean, that's the only way to get trust back, right? Whether it's for somebody like you're being transparent right now in an effort to try to generate some trust. I want to talk to you a little bit, if I could. I want to play a little bit of a game with you, if you don't mind. I have not met you before, and I thought you might be up for this. I think you'll like it. I call it the corruptometer, and it's not a I want to use you as an analyst here. Right. First, on the issue of political horse trading, you just walked us through a classical political horse trade. I'll help so-and-so get a job, or I'll help so-and-so get control of some assets, whatever it is. If you give me this, I'll give you that. What percentage of politicians in this country do you think participate in that sort of behavior?
100%.
Okay, hang on.
In fact, every single day when the U.S. Congress votes. Every single day when the U.S. Congress votes, or every day when a state legislature convenes and meets, political horse trading happens. Legislators trade their votes with other legislators to get the things that they're trying to get done for their districts passed.
All right.
I was able to get a post office named after a slain Chicago police officer when I was a congressman. Henry Hyde, the late congressman, asked me to support a bill supporting a judge in Alabama who had the 10 Commandments up in his courtroom. I was happy to do that. Yep. In exchange for that, Henry Hyde helped me have a post office named after a slain police officer.
Don't you figure everybody's everybody's got a good explanation for their horse trading? Every day?
Look, Abraham Lincoln, well, again...
You know, I'm teasing you. Let's do the next one. Using your current job to angle for the next job. Again, one of the things you were accused of, trying to seek in return for the seat, a cabinet post or an ambassadorship for yourself. What percentage of politicians do you think exhibit this sort of reprehensible behavior?
Well, you characterize it a certain way, but I think that's a very common...
I tease. I shouldn't have done that. I'm teasing.
No, but that's... No, you know, look, you can't serve the people and try to do the things you tell the people you want to do if you're not in a position to do it. And so when you talk about are there political deals between political figures, one supports the other for something and vice versa, it's very common. You're asking me what percentage? 75 to 80%, if not more.
All right. You know, based on what I've seen, I don't know any more than you. You know more than me, but boy, what I've seen the past few years, it seems to be an operating system. Accusations over the years that campaign contributions are sought in return for access to state funds, in return to access to federal funds. The whole concept that the best return on investment as a business in America is a few dollars to a political figure in exchange for a meaningful consideration, tax treatment, allocation, no bid. There's a million ways, as you know, to send a lot more money out than comes in. What percentage do you think this is?
I would say that, again, that's a high percentage, probably, you know, 75%. That is something that needs to be changed. That is what's wrong with our country today. Now, the American people hate this idea, but this is why public financing of elections is important. It's the kind of price you pay as a citizen, I think. And if that happened, you would see a whole different dynamic in Washington, D.C. The pharmaceutical industry has more lobbyists lobbying against an effort to open up the borders to Canada to get safe and affordable prescription drugs than there are members of Congress. And there's a reason why a lot of these good ideas don't go anywhere, and it's precisely because of the influence of campaign money. Now, it's legal so long as one is not expressly given for the other. It's legal, but it's such an opaque and sort of vague thing. It's something that motivates a lot of the actions of most people in politics.
So it sounds like, based on your own analysis, whether it's a political horse trading, political job seeking, or the incredible return on investment for political donations, the last one to you seems to be the most corrupting systematically.
No question about it. And plus, the law is clear on that. That you cannot expressly say one thing should be in exchange for a campaign contribution. But it's nuanced, and it's a subtle kind of thing. It's a wink and a nod. It's unsaid. That's legal. But the reality is, the reason why the lobbyists, the special interests, and the tax code is filled with corporate loopholes, and average ordinary Americans are paying more in taxes than they should, is precisely because of that. Campaign contributions and lobbyists and what I call the political industrial complex that sort of runs the show in Washington and runs the show at the state level in all the various state capitals.
Well, listen, I certainly don't agree with a lot of the things that you've been accused of. I have no idea whether they occurred or not, but I agree with said wholeheartedly, and I appreciate your taking the time not only to talk with me, but to do it in public like this and to play along with our silly little game there, if only if it was as silly as we would all like. Thank you very much, Governor.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan.
All right, Rob Blagojevich up next, bridging the divide between